Now, and speaking of the quality, this is something I was wondering. Where do you get your products? Like your MSM is the main ingredient sulfur. So where does that come from, and how do you ensure that it's good quality?
Good. That's a great one. MSM comes up a lot because MSM can be it's made in China, it's made in India, and it's made in the US. And we found that if you can get, especially a material that has to be processed like sulfur, because it's made from a wood pulp and they have to refine it down quite a bit, they have to put it through a distillation process. There's other processes that can be used to make it, but distillation is the most pure. And the more times you distill it, obviously, the more pure of an MSM end product you get. So this is a 4 times distilled. We get it from the U.S. It's the only manufacturer that's still here. Most of them have moved outsourced to China. So a lot of companies, you go to the store, you buy MSM. If it doesn't say Opti MSM, that's the brand name that's made here. Then it's not made in the USA. It's made in China or in India, and there can be good products coming from there. I mean, we do, there's a few of our products that come from China because they're only grown there, but we only really source materials from those countries if they're grown there. And China and India have a long history of use of these herbs and application and how to grow them and the right climate for them. And there's something to say about indigenous, and there's something to say about local. We really want to go where these plants feel at home, they grow the best, and they're going to have the most medicinal constituents if they're grown in their correct locations.
Well, and they have I'm going to say it wrong, adaptogen abilities, right, too, when they're grown in those environments?
Oh, yeah, exactly. That's mainly our philosophy is focusing on the tonics, focusing on what would be considered an adaptogenic herb, because there's so many herbs out there, and people are like, how do you know this herb is good for me? Well, it's like, the type of herbs we choose are the most revered herbs, and there's only they say that around 50 tonics truly in the world. You can go all the way up to maybe 100 if you're a little more flexible with that, but there's thousands of herbs that are in use as treating symptoms. You have this problem, this herb is good for it. That's more using herb like as a Western approach. And that's great, but I don't specialize in that. We specialize in a preventative approach of like a vitamin. It's like, take this herb as a tonic, as an adaptogen to help your body adapt to those daily stressors. And it's going to keep you stronger, it's going to enhance your well-being. And these are the most intelligent herbs. These herbs can be used as medicine, and they often are. And they're often some of the best medicines. But we choose to, it's like, the Hippocrates, let your food be your medicine and your medicine be your food. And that's really powerful, letting your medicine be your food. That's the huge take home we have to look at, is that we can take in medicinal elements on a daily basis and use them as foods, because a lot of these superfoods they do have caloric and nutritional value, and they have medicinal value.
And I like that approach, using your food as medicine. And it just makes sense, doesn't it? Some of the prescription drugs, many people are taking them, they're toxic to our systems. Many people don't realize that.
And it's to the point where it's not only toxic, but we're not understanding that our body is very intelligent, and oftentimes the reason why we have a health problem that we perceive as a health problem is really just our body saying, hey, you need attention to this area of our body. Like, we have a problem, and then it's just something that masks the symptom. These drugs are just designed to block that symptom, which that's not really what we want to be doing, because long term that symptom is actually going to develop into more and more different symptoms until that chronic health condition that's underlying actually manifests to something that's a very serious disease. And so if we can treat it quickly, if we say, I have a little pain in my knee, let's not take Advil, let's look at what we can do to heal our knee and get the inflammation down, it just makes sense, right? It's just logic.
It does. Now, talking about that, if someone came in and wanted to get started on this, they don't really know where to start. So what are, say, 4 or 5 things that you would recommend that everyone should take every day?
Great question.
As a
Great.
preventative?
Yeah. So and that's actually what we ask people, right? The first time we meet somebody, we ask them what their nutrition strategy is, and that gets the wheel spinning in people because they're like, oh, nutrition strategy. Like they're just like, well, I just try and eat healthy. Well, we can take it a step further and actually developing some type of strategy for understanding what our current diet is, what it may be lacking, and then looking at where those nutrients that we're lacking may be best supplied in nutrient-dense sources. And so we look at things. The first thing that comes up that I found is mineral deficiency, and of course we need all minerals. We're deficient in most minerals. The biggest one I've found being magnesium. Magnesium is getting a lot of press. And the reason why I say that is because we are a society that's heavily stressed. We have a lot of stress. We're just doers. Americans are just get it done kind of people. But that creates a lot of stress in their lives. It's always doing a lot of things, and our body definitely gets depleted when it's under a lot of stress. And actually how our body processes stress is magnesium is actually essential in that role. It's essential in making certain hormones and neurotransmitters that help us deal with stress. So what we've been finding is when
it could affect depression then.
Oh yeah. When we are stressed, our body just dumps magnesium into the system. So even any reserves in the muscle tissue or the brain or the heart gets dumped into the system as a means of keeping calm, because magnesium keeps our system calm. It keeps our muscles relaxed as where calcium contracts. There's that magnesium calcium balance, and so it's a vital nutrient. And most people aren't eating enough in their diet. Even if they are, it's being depleted so quickly. So it's almost like we are to the point where we do need a supplement, no matter. Even if we are getting 100% of our daily value of magnesium, that's if you're a Buddha meditating in a cave and you don't have stress levels. So we need those extra boosts nowadays. We need more of things, and that's what I've been experiencing for a long time.
So magnesium would be one.
Would be one. That's one of the biggest ones we've been using. And what we often find is that people's cells are impermeable, and this gets into sulfur. And that's one of our next essentials, is that magnesium is an intracellular nutrient. So in order to get it in the cell, oftentimes people take nutrients in, like magnesium, it doesn't absorb. They don't feel it because their cells are impermeable. They're dehydrated, and they have like they lack the permeable membrane around the cell, and it's actually heavily influenced and nourished by sulfur. And so when you give them sulfur in addition to the magnesium that they're using, it helps to permeate the cells and actually get in and start activating. Magnesium activates adenosine triphosphate, ATP, production in the mitochondria within the cell. So your energy can go up with using magnesium.
So that's why you instantly feel better with the sulfur.
Exactly. It's an instant thing because whatever nutrients were in your blood can go in the cells easy. And it does a lot. It's really unique in that it can pass through the blood-brain barrier. So it can really help with serotonin, especially when you're combining it with like cannaberry, with that popular mix we make, the MSM morning mix. It has all those botanicals that the sulfur carries into the cells really easily, and it's known to really affect the mood, increase the mood, and definitely affect nutrient uptake. And then the big one is hydration. I mean, that's the underlying foundation of this all, is proper hydration. So MSM is also reminding people, hey, you have to drink this MSM. So we always say follow with a lot of water after, and it reminds people, okay, first thing in the morning I'm drinking something, not eating something, because we're dehydrated. When we wake up, we are very dehydrated. So yeah, that's kidney. Yeah.